right?
Yeah, I know that tune.
Don't get straight, no, well, I ain't getting straight.
Yeah, right around the world. Don't get straight.
Catch out of Bay, don't get straight.
Paul, hey, Mark, where are you?
I just got home.
Always the way they said we can see. Plain as day.
I like that tune.
They got to Brendan's head. Totally insane.
Don't get strange.
Everything.
How you doing?
They got.
Oh, we got to turn that down.
Gathered by many walks. Always makes some sense.
While they're in the game.
Don't get straight. Don't get straight, no. I ain't getting straight, don't get straight.
I ain't getting strange.
And then lying,
that cheating.
Predatory, Swindy ain't anything he said, you can throw away. Oh, he's a legal stay. Don't
get strange.
All right, Paulie, rocking it.
We finally find out who's to blame. Don't get strange.
Yeah, we're rocking. The Commonwealth rock, eh?
That's right. The Commonwealth.
Oh, that's hilarious, Paulie. Yeah, it'll come out.
We finally find out
who's to blame.
Don't get strange.
Hey.
Dude,
hey.
Dude,
that is without date my favorite song. And
oh, that's awesome.
I mean, what you did with that song was then you took it to is it a mark in Australia? No, a mark in Canada. At the
Mark Atkinson on Hornby Island. Yeah, and actually, Hornby Island is right. If you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's the island right over there. So I live on this island.
Wow.
And it's about a 10-minute ferry ride, and it's a very small island over there. But a lot of artists and a lot of talented musicians. And Mark Atkinson is definitely up there. So.
Right. You have to excuse me. I'm going to plug in this headphone because I'm struggling to hear.
Right.
And I've got
how was the flight, Mark? You must be tired from all that traveling.
Yeah, I am a bit. It's been a long journey, but Stacy, just to be online with you and Paul, it's
plug it in.
One for the team.
That
did it.
That track. One of the things I often do is when I listen to stuff, I think, as I'm sure we all do, we think about the groove. Where did that groove come from? And to me, that groove, it's Joe Sample on the keyboard. That is Crusaders.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Street Life. It just wow! I just absolutely love it. I mean, I love all of your stuff, as you know.
Right on.
But it's the mixes and everything you've done with it.
I can't take credit. I come up with the song, and sometimes I don't even really take credit for that. But Don't Get Strange came out pretty quick too. That was like a day, and then it just, as I play it month after month, they get honed and polished. But when I take it over to Mark, it's a totally different experience because I've learned to let him go. And quite a bit of my process with him is he'll say, "Hey, I hear some organs in it." And I'm like, "Okay, go for it." And he'll do it, and he'll go, I think that's good. And I say, "No, go do another take. And he might do 7 passes at the piano of something. Yeah. And I really just give him that. I give him that leeway to. I mean, these songs take a little bit longer because when I first recorded with him my own personal songs, like, not MAM songs, I was a bit more anal and trying to get them pumped out and save money and stuff. And then these ones, as I've learned, I just let him go. So he's really the Barn Studio. I always call him a co-creator, although he does not like that. He just says, "Hey, I'm just doing my stuff." But
Yeah,
he really is. Yeah. I mean, I always say, "Hey, I give him a skeleton," and he comes out with a fleshed out person and dressed to the nines. That's the way I look at it.
yeah. I mean, look, dude. There's so many people in the history of the music that have used session musicians, and what you've got there is undoubtedly a really good polished session musician. I mean, I take my hat off to the guy. He's done really well. But I suppose it's a case of, you take the credit. No, you take the credit. You take the no. And it's a bit sort of to and fro. But you have to have the original idea to begin with. And clearly something has motivated you to write these songs. And I suppose I'm probably sort of on the right wavelengths when I'm thinking that you weren't too happy when you saw Making a Murder and the Injustices.
Yeah, I saw it right away. The absolute injustice. It was blatant to me, and I might be biased for life experiences or stuff like that, but I'm pretty real, with myself, and so when I see truth, I always think truth resonates, and the opposites of truth as well. So when I hear Ken Kratz and his stories, and I mean, that stuff just did the exact opposite. It doesn't resonate at all. It resonates as a lie to me, just right off the bat. And I try to be objective. And I immediately after I finished watching that, I thought, this guy must be out of prison by now. So I Googled Stephen Avery, and sure enough, he was there. He was still in prison. And so that started a ball rolling of getting involved with Reddit and we got an echo somewhere. Yeah.
Sorry, that was my fault. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, and so I got immersed, and I'm a sort of I go deep when I go, and so I read all that. I mean, I was just thinking today, because another bunch of information got dropped today.
Yeah, you told me about it. That's how good the system works.
Yeah.
We're 5,000 miles away, and you tell me, and I'm sat watching the rugby in the British Legion, and the next thing I know, you're telling me about stuff.
Well, but it brought back memories of me. I really wanted to go into the 300 pages that got released today. Yeah, and I just have to hold back because I go too hard sometimes into it. But the songs just keep coming, and I don't really try to write. Some I did. 36 Million I tried to write, but recently these things just come through me, and I don't know why.
Yeah, 36 Million is probably my second favorite because of the line. It might as well be 36 gazillion or what was the line? It was just awesome. But do you know what? That song "Don't Get Strange." It has caused so many arguments for me, and I've said to people, no, that was Chuck that said "Don't Get Strange," and everybody's on at me. They say, no, that's Par Avery, and I'm saying, no, watch the clip. It's definitely.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when you corrected me there and you sent the screenshot and it says Chuck Avery. I was like, you gotta be kidding!
But they sound the same, don't they? They sound the same.
Totally. Yeah. In fact, now I can hear it, but I still right after that moment, I thought it's got to be a typo or something in this. Anyway, Mark, have you been able to look at that new stuff, the Freedom of Information Act, or the 300 pages?
I literally just caught a glimpse of it a couple of hours ago once I arrived home.
And, right.
I haven't really got into it at all, so sadly, I don't have a view to give you right now, but I'm kind of itching to like you to get into those pages. So
it's more disturbing, I found, because I've gotten into it for about maybe an hour and a half, and what hits me again is the more and more people delve into this case, the more blatant the frame is, the frame job, and I think I really want a federal agency to get involved now after this. Like when you see the evidence logs of tags being changed, switched, chain of custody being broken there's one, that BZ, the big charred material.
Yeah.
It's got a big break of chain of custody right at the day. So, it's fine for us all to be on the bandwagon. We are doing a great job and stuff, but I think, I don't know what agency would be able to investigate that, but something's got to be done, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Someone has to be courageous enough and brave enough to get up there and say, we can't accept this continuing. And that's what has to happen. And I'm finding it extremely scary in a way that this is perpetuating the way it is. And I'm like you, Stacey, I'm not sure who's going to actually speak out on this in addition to the legal process. But what we're seeing happening here is just totally unacceptable. And, we look at Stephen and Brendan's case in isolation, but seriously, this has got to be the tip of the iceberg. And you wonder what else is going on in the background in other cases that we're not hearing about because we're so focused on Stephen and Brendan.
Right. And that's one of the things that I try to do and talk to people is it's not necessarily, it is about Stephen and Brendan and Manitowoc and Wisconsin, but it's a bigger picture as well, because once these things get normalized, people accept them readily in their day-to-day life outside the judicial system. They just accept that. That's the way things are. We don't, and it's a real slippery slope once you accept the tyranny in any sort, and so it's a bigger story. I can't believe that first of all, I can't believe that people haven't seen it when I run into them.
Yeah.
It's like, and then when there's a category of people that watch a couple episodes and then they stop. I don't want to. Yeah. And so, I don't know, but I guess we just keep doing our little parts and hopefully we'll be part of the ball that pushes things or brings it to awareness, because I hope it continues.
One of the things that needs answering without an answer in a sense is that why is it in the United States there is 5 times the incarceration rate as in Great Britain or Australia? I don't know what the stat is for Canada, but why are people imprisoned 5 times at a higher rate than in other comparable countries that we like to compare ourselves to? And that is the litmus test of what's going wrong. By my judgment, not by my judgment, by statistics, there's 2 million people in prison in the United States.
Right.
And by my judgment, there's about half of those that shouldn't be there, not because they've done something illegal. There's probably about 50, 60, maybe 100,000 people who shouldn't be there. But of the rest, imprisonment is not the solution to their misdemeanors or crimes.
Right.
Sure, the hard criminals, the murderers, the rapists, etc., need to be incarcerated in some form or another. But the number of people are in there for crimes that don't justify that punishment is just ridiculous.
Right.
Ridiculous.
One of those reasons
measure up to any other nation in the world. None, by a long shot. Even places that we abhor, like Russian circumstances or Korean or African circumstances. The United States is the most seriously incarcerated nation in the whole world.
Yeah, and but it's also a lot of private prisons. They make money on. That's one of the big things there. Yeah, and the whole country, I don't know, but in this particular case, you certainly see what's highlighted for me is that the lack of integrity of people in positions of power.
Yes.
And almost put there because of the lack of integrity. They're on the team. It's the old boys club. I mean, Willis's comment on the voicemails accessed on November 2nd is the epitome of it. I don't see the relevance. I mean, that just to me, and he's a judge.
I know. And his comment about not allowing the coroner's testimony to proceed in front of the jury.
Right.
He's the top law enforcement officer in that moment that is in the case of a body, and she's about to admit to the jury that the law enforcement threatened her with arrest.
Right.
And Willis says, I don't see any value in giving that evidence. Seriously.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, and that's why I think with this recent 300 pages dropped and the stuff we found out since Making a Murderer 2 with Kathleen Zellner and some of the Redditors and cozy heads and sleuthers, you know, I think at what point, like I said, does a federal investigation be warranted? It almost, you need more people to open their eyes or to become aware of it, because the evidence is already there in my mind. You know, there's enough right now to go, well, something's definitely gone on here, and the locals are not getting down to the you know, to find out what it is. So, I mean, the idea that the RAV is not in custody anymore, or isn't in evidence lockers, I seriously consider that. You know, as you, like I was writing this tune, and it was like you had the Zipper CD missing, then you had the Veely CD missing, then you had the Bones missing. I mean, it's not too far of a stretch to go the RAV is gone or damaged, or water or smoke damage, or something's happened to it to compromise it. So, I mean, who knows? But
can I just intervene?
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very, very quickly. I've got just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
First of all, on a purely personal note, can I just ask, when you very first watched Making a Murderer, was I the only one so naive as to think that when it got to episode 7, I'm thinking, now, how are Stephen and Brendan going to get free from this? You know, where's going to be the happy ending? I'm always reminded of the fact that I once overheard a conversation of two guys. They were discussing the recent great film Titanic. One says to the other, "Is it a happy ending?" And then one guy says, "Are you kidding with me? Have you know about the Titanic?" You know, it's like you know. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, episode 7, episode 8. There's only 10 episodes. When are they going to get to the bit that we all want to see, which is, you know, the bit when everything gets resolved, like you often see in a film or a document, you know, like some sort of series. When are we going to see resolution in this? And it was like, you know, it for me, Making a Murder started off really happy with Steve being exonerated in 2003, getting out, and it was just like constantly coming down. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And by the time it started at episode 10, I finally realized this ain't gonna have a happy ending. This is gonna be, and I'm like, what on earth is going on here? But I suppose what I'm saying is, was I the only thicko?
Yeah, you were, Paul.
Okay. So you're so kind. If it wasn't the fact that you were on Australia, I would have serious issues.
You Scottish guys just haver and haver and haver.
Secondly, on a slightly happier note, I did have a question too, and I'm trying to keep a track of this for a change, because I know, Mark, you took quite exception to the fact it was the dude himself. He said to us as we were doing our chat the other as I was chatting with the dude yesterday, he said he noticed that when I was chatting with you, there was nobody monitoring any of the conversations whatsoever. So we have a question here. So this is the first time I've ever actually posted a question, and it's a question to Stacy, and it's from Ziggy.
Hi, Zig.
Hi, Ziggy.
By the way, Paul, I can't see any of the.
Yeah, me neither. I don't see any of them because I'm on my phone and.
No.
Yeah,
I'll keep a track of them. No. Listen. You're invited as my guest. It's my responsibility. Was the way that dude put it.
What about all your Paul? What about all your admins? What are they doing?
My admins. You mean my well-trained monkey?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's upstairs somewhere. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh God.
I've got a clue what he or she is doing. No, seriously, I've got a question here. Will you stop interrupting?
Sorry.
Stacy.
Yes.
Will you be putting your songs on Amazon as an album at any time?
They already are. Some of them are. The songs that are uploaded, they're on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and stuff like that. As an album, I
And
may
Spotify.
do that. Yeah. And they may be. I might do an album. It would. I've never done it, so all this stuff has been learning curve. And actually, if it wasn't for Mark Hodnott, I probably wouldn't have this experience anyway either. So it's been a learning curve. So they are up there. You know, people. I forget. You know, Mark Atkinson. He was. He's been in the music industry for a while, and you know, he said no one really buys music anymore. To be honest, they listen to it, and some people do, but maybe people would. But they're out there if you want to purchase them. And I think, yes, down the road, I think I'll package 10 of them. Probably is what I'm thinking, just to keep in line with the 10-part documentary, and I'll put an album out there or something. But I still don't know. It's been so. It's hard to believe that none of these were recorded before the end of November. Yeah, and so it's very quick and very surreal to. Sometimes I go on the YouTube channel and I'll see my playlist, and it's very surreal to see all these things created and I guess be the creator of them. You know, it's interesting.
Hey, Stacy, can I just mention, Stacy, that song, which is not MAM related, called My Mind Drifts to You.
Right.
I'm sure has a genesis in something quite personal. But is equally applicable to MAM, if you think about it. And when I listen to that song, you know, it takes me to another place in respect to, you know, probably what maybe Stephen and others are thinking about their family, you know. Even though that's not really the essence of why that song is there. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I love that tune. I mean, that's another, you know, it's hard to talk about them because I was mentioning it to you last week when we talked there, Mark, or tried to. But some of these songs come out so quickly that it's, I mean, the last song I did, which was, I forget now what it's called, is, just 1 second. It is called, They Didn't Take All of You. Yeah. It's just an acoustic version. I mean, that song came out in, I'm not even joking, maybe 7 minutes. And so it's kind of odd to be part of the experience and process where these things come so quick. And I think they're truth, you know, I really believe in them. When they come out that quick, I think there's I don't want to be airy-fairy or like, but I just think there's something else going on rather than like a songwriter sitting down and writing a song. It's not really like that. So I like some of the, and same with My Mind Drifts to You. That's what I was talking about. That came out very similar. So you can hear them, you know, you can almost hear them when they're like that. So same with Illusion of Justice. You can just hear that there's a difference about it, you know?
I was going to ask, for me, as I say, Don't Get Strange, probably because it was the first of your songs that I heard that I just went wow. In second place, I'm struggling to. Well, I mean, they're all just so great. Stacy, would you like to choose one to go next?
Which one would I like to choose to go next? I think. Well, they switch, you know, because recently I've fallen in love with Zelnami Coming Again, but it's What's another one?
Sorry, dude. Time's out.
Yeah, there you go.
Time's out.
Oh, that's actually This is my favorite of all.
Yeah.
This is the favorite. Yeah.
This is the one I said to you.
Yeah.
That there's a hint of K.D. Lang about this. I am absolutely convinced about that. And you said about putting some accordion on it. I would love to put some accordion on.
All but they use the bad for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can't trust us. All but they use the bad for an illusion of justice. It's indefensible.
Oh, now what they did.
Convict an innocent man twice with the 16-year-old kid. Yes, we can't turn away, pretending all the pieces fit. Oh, but if we turn away, we let them get away with it.
2 seconds.
Oh, they say,
Look at that, Mark.
can't trust them. All but they use the bad for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can't trust us. All but they use the flag for an illusion of justice. Of justice. We need a wrecking crew to tear this whole thing down. Oh, did you hear the news? There's a new sheriff in town. Not the knee touching one, not the one supported by them clowns. On the superhero one, she's gonna tear the house of cards down. Oh, they say you can't trust us. All but they use the platform of illusion of justice. Oh, they say you can't trust us. All but they use the flag for an illusion of justice. Oh, we need a wrecking crew to tear this whole thing down.
That's an amazing song, Stacy.
That's an awesome one. I love that. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, that's a, you know, during that recording session, and me and Mark did that one in Avery Road, I think the day after each other.
Right.
But during that session, Mark looked over and he said, "That's a good tune, man." And then he turned back and he said, "Actually, that's a hit," you know. But yeah.
It's I can get how sometimes tunes in their very basic form, they are just naturally good, and sometimes you can overproduce them, and yet other times you can get a tune in its basic form and you think, well, that's just needs a bit more producing. But I tell you what, I am really impressed with what that guy
Mark,
not the Aussie guy, obviously, because he's an Aussie, you know.
I'm impressed with both of them.
Well, you know, I mean, let's face it. Australia's probably a nice place, but the trouble is, it's full of Aussies, isn't it? You know.
Jesus.
anyway, I've got a question. For you.
I'm coming to you.
Okay. The dude, right?
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Listen, the dude is right into his Doctor Who and all that time and stuff, you know. And to me, I'm sorry, but I think that's just a load of SH1T, don't you think? All that time travel stuff, Doctor Who. I mean, the guy is completely and utterly deluded. I just don't understand where he is coming from. where he's coming from.
He's from LA.
I just haven't got a clue where he's coming from.
Oh my, look at that. You guys.
Now you understand why I was trying to pin you down to a
that's hilarious. You guys. Oh wait, I'm gonna come in there too now. Watch this.
I'm gonna do this.
Oh, that's nice.
There we go.
That's awesome, you guys.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's funny how the friendships, hey? It's just this documentary that was made by two other people we may never meet or probably not. And all these friendships have come about, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty
incredible. Have you got your glass?
Oh, cheers.
Have you got your glass?
Salute.
Yeah, this one.
Where is it?
This one.
No, your other glass.
Oh, my other glass. Hang on a minute.
Oh, I'll get it for you. You stay in chat with Stacy.
That's awesome, you guys. That's great.
I stopped off in Singapore, but the plane got diverted to Galashiels in Scotland.
Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. And are you heading home soon though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I am. On Tuesday, I'll be heading home.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be back in Sydney on Thursday morning. So
very tired, probably. Take a week to get back to normal, probably.
It does. It is about a week, Stacey. It's about a day for every hour of time difference, roughly.
Yeah. Right.
So I've been about 9 hours away from home most of the last month or so.
Yeah.
So it's a good week for me to get back to normal. You kind of think you're back to normal after 2 or 3 days, and then suddenly it hits you again, right? So
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, I'd never experienced jet lag or anything like that till my last time I traveled to Germany.
Yeah,
and it just hit me so hard. I mean,
yeah,
I was I didn't expect it, and oh man, it nailed me. So. But that'll give you a lot of time over that week of half sleep and deep sleep and no sleep to catch up on the case, because I'm telling you, these 300 pages, they look pretty juicy.
I'll just give you a little bit of insight. I won't say too much because it's a bit early to say too much. I came across something that was of significant enough interest to me that I dropped an email to Kathleen Zellner today.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
About something that I personally was involved with last year that suddenly made more sense today or yesterday. It may not amount to anything, but
right.
I'm not inclined to be dramatic or overzealous about something. But I thought to myself, I need to write to her about this to see whether it makes any sense. So
yeah,
I did.
Well, the more I get into it, and we're there a long time. I mean, all of us, I've been at it for 3 years, really. Yeah. And you almost think, that's why I was saying about some federal, you need an army of people to piece this thing together. And we do have one, and it's sporadically being pieced together, amazingly, to be honest, really. But for someone to cohesively present it to a law enforcement agency that could do something about it, man, that's going to take, it's like one of these 2-year-long inquiries,
Yeah, the question is, I mean, it's one thing if you like to have issues associated with Stephen and Brendan and focus specifically on their immediate needs. The bigger issue really is there the will to really change the system? Because the system, in my view, respectfully, is broken in the US.
Yeah.
And you have to have people willing to accept the reality of that in order to begin a road to reform.
Yeah, and that's such a huge job that it seems insurmountable. And minimal changes don't really produce much.
No.
So an overhaul is sometimes needed, but how that comes, it makes me want to just go, okay, yeah, it needs an overhaul, but let's deal with Brendan and Stephen again here, because, I mean, what gets me? One of the things that really gets me is that people, because of Stephen's ilk, because he was a simple guy raised on a salvage, they're just like, oh yeah, well, it's okay. And that just gets me, man. I just think, no, this is a guy that did nothing. I mean, exactly. He's not a saint, but he spent he did his 6 years for his the crime that he did commit, and then he spent extra 12 years in prison for something he didn't commit. And now they, just because they thought they could get away with it, they've taken, and to me, I mean, why there's not more people standing up, it blows my mind.
Well, I mean, for my way of thinking, I've had a lot of experience in the United States, even lived there for a year back, way back when.
Right.
There's a cultural view that we don't want to confront the realities of who we are. And
right.
One of the realities is that, and I sincerely mean this respectfully to the United States, which is a country I love very much, and I have many, many friends there, but they haven't evolved. They haven't evolved to a more mature society when it comes to law reform. And they still live in the wild, wild west approach of the sheriff rides into town and arrests someone and locks them up.
Right, yeah.
Now, that's dramatically oversimplifying it, of course.
Right.
But
of course, yeah.
It's still very true. And, you know, someone needs to be capable of, and I think it's got to come from the young people, of saying we need to be engaged to a new America. It's not about making America great again. It's about making America evolve again, right? Which is a fantastic nation, but it's still stuck in its legacy issues, and they're not appropriate for the current times.
Yeah, 21st century now, you know, so things, it's just like you can abstract that down to a human, you know, like a personal, you go through stages of stagnancy, and you have real, usually painful stages of growth. And then and so maybe that's what they're going to experience.
Yeah, and look, it is epitomized by other aspects of United States society. I mean, here is, by any measure, the most wealthiest nation in the world per head of population. No question about that. But when you actually then take that wealth and analyze it in terms of its distribution, it doesn't rate even in the top 30 countries in terms of the equitable distribution of that wealth.
Right, yeah.
So its accumulated wealth has ended up in so few hands that in the United States, things like the healthcare system, Social Security, the level of poverty, and so on, is extreme for the wealthiest country in the world. And if you think about what the role of government is, the role of government should be to ameliorate the differences in society and generate a sense of citizenship, satisfaction, and capability.
Right.
And usually that's not delivered by handouts. It's delivered by having good social systems, whether that's education, health, or social security, or whatever it is, so people feel safe, secure, and respected.
Yeah.
And
you know,
just look around the world and see what other nations are doing, and say,
are
we doing enough? And you get your answer from that.
But I wonder if some of that governing, albeit misguided and warped, may have played a part in them deciding to target Stephen the second time.
Absolutely,
you know?
the case.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about this.
Yeah.
This is part of that sort of a way of thinking. You know,
they just think, hey, you know what? We're gonna kill two birds with one stone here, or maybe just one bird. But it's like, we'll take care of this case, and no one will know. And we're doing this. We're sacrificing one for the good of a bunch of taxpayers. You know,
correct.
Yeah, and so they just never thought that. I mean, I keep coming around. They just never thought the whole world would be watching 10 years later. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I mean, we talk about the documentary as if it was known to all, but for 10 years nobody knew about it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
No, but even the people at the time didn't really know who this film crew from New York were, right?
Right.
They were just a camera and a microphone in the background.
Yeah.
And so they thought, oh, well, these people are expendable. They're not important. We'll just continue what we're doing.
Yeah. But now it's going to unravel, and I think it's going to unravel over the next decade, actually. I think it'll take that long, and that's the way things usually happen. When something this sort of grotesque is uncovered, they'll do their a committee to study it, and that'll take 2.5 years, and they'll come out with a decision, and then they'll start implement, just like they did with the Avery law.
Yeah.
You know, it takes so long that it just loses all its teeth. Where to come back to sort of old Western justice, what I would like to see, and I think a lot of other people, you want to see that quick justice for those who took part in this, you know. But sometimes, you know, in life, we just got to roll with the time that things take. But man, it would be nice to see Kratz, like Kathleen Zellner's quote. She's just going to unmask him. I would love to see that quickly, and charges, you know. But
well, yeah, the immunity that it appears that prosecutors and other law enforcement officials seem to hide behind needs to be unveiled, right? That kind.
Hey, we got another visitor.
Oh, my
God. Oh, shite.
What's up, Stacy? What's up, Mark? Hey, Mark, what are you doing with Paul, dude?
Hey, have you finally realized what I was trying to set up? the logistics of trying to get all of you guys together in
it was.
You have no idea what I've been through. It's like trying to get a passport organized.
Well, you done well, Paulie.
Well, I'm only here because the client was nice enough to let me borrow their Wi-Fi for a minute. On the call with you guys.
Oh, so you're working on someone else's time, right?
Hanging TV. But I'm actually
a quick question. I've got a quick question, and it's for Mark, and it was based on the fact that Mark has actually been and spoken with Alan Avery Senior.
I have. Yeah. I had a beer with him.
Yeah,
nice.
And I would like you to explain, what do you think Stephen Avery would have ended up like being had he not been wrongfully convicted twice?
Just like his dad. Stephen is very much like his father, a hard-working, everyday knockabout bloke who loves his family and cares about people around him. Mm-hmm. He's the epitome of Alan. He's definitely Alan's son, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah.
Next question.
Just see that in it.
Oh.
That's his picture.
This guy here.
That's his picture.
The dude.
That's what he got done at Comic Con. Because he's into his comic.
My phone is on low battery, and when it goes to low battery, it stops doing my video. So
good.
Goodness for that.
Yeah, we're all appreciative of that.
Yeah, Haver.
Eunice, what does behavior mean?
Behavior. It means to talk a load of Eric Cohen.
It means a load of crap. It means talking a load of rubbish.
Computer. I was thinking my computer, I'd be playing that clip right now.
We know you would. Right, I'm going to load up another song for you.
What are we playing, Paul?
Hold on a sec. We need to.
Hold on a sec.
The Stacy.
500 miles.
No, maybe not. I'm going to just. Sorry. 2 seconds while I sort out what we had so far. Don't get strange. Yeah. I've got another one coming here.
We got one.
I've got a train coming.
What's that one?
Look, see the dude. He's still confused. He's still wondering. I am a time lord. I can get him back anytime I want him.
Yeah.
She
wears a cape.
She's a true life hero. One way should emulate. Always standing up from a very young age. She felt strong enough to defend the weak to the brave. She's a fighter for justice her whole life long. She does the hard work and then she proves them wrong. She's gonna prove them wrong.
How come he can sing so perfectly in tune when he wants to? He can do what he wants.
getting good.
Yes, we know it's not easy. Even when you got like Queen Daisy, you gotta dot your I's and cross your T's. You only get one chance to bring them to their knees. Really, what down you got 10 more chances to do.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. That's better one.
And the list goes on. I bet the list will go on.
Apple charger, would you?
Because she does the hard work and then she puts it.
And we thought California was mad.
Hey, it's Eunice.
Hey, Eunice. Hey, it's one thing getting on it, it's another thing getting off again.
Where are you? Why aren't you here?
Well, I think it has something to do with the fact that I'm 5,000 miles away.
You have to things that get people over to this weird and wonderful country,
Yeah.
I intend to make it over there to Scotland eventually.
Yeah, good. Passports.
Eunice,
Hey, right on.
What are you saying?
Eunice, what does behavior mean?
Behavior, talk a lot of things.
Like
What Eric Cozy does.
No. Like you. Like you, Paul.
Like you.
I'll tell you what, the best part is
Hey, this is a great party. I love this.
the best part is when
You
Eunice
need to
goes,
get to
no,
Scotland to come to
you.
this party. This is exclusive.
This,
Exclusive,
yeah. Guilters aren't invited. They are uninvited. They will never be invited.
Well, that's a good party.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to run though. I think I've overstayed my.
Yes, yeah. I do apologize, Stacey, for keeping you so long.
No, it was. I wish I could. I wish I could stay, but I have a little meeting at. I'm probably late for it, to be honest. But
To be honest, it was Mark's fault. He was far too long. He decided to visit every bar in Galashiels before he came home.
hey, right on.
Well, that was only because I needed to find Paul first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one, Marky. Hey, thanks, you guys, and thanks, Paulie, and thanks, Mark, and we'll I'll talk again sometime.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Right on. Okay, well, thanks. I'm gonna head out.
All right. We'll see you, Stacey.
Bye from Canada.
Cheers, Stacey.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Hey, dude, my video did get taken down. I'm the only one that can watch it now.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So listen, I was asking Mark, what's the situation with if the next video that we do, we just keep it private?
Well, or you just don't play copyrighted content.
But will they still shut it down if I play Life in the Fast Line by the Eagles, especially for you?
I think if you have anybody in the chat besides you and me, then yeah. All right, I gotta go, guys. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye, guys.
Well, I think we've kept I'm going to just quickly check and see if we've got this is midnight. Look at that. That is ridiculous. And I'm just looking to see. I don't think there's any. Bye, Stacey. Bye, Stacey. Bye, Stacey. Hello, Mrs. Capaldi.
Hello.
Hey. I am living on my big yacht in the Bahamas. Would you like to come and join me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, okay.
Just send the cash. Definitely. Go for it.
Honestly, I could do with the peace and quiet.
Yeah, I know. Definitely. What I've got to put up with, I'll be there.
Right, come on then. Let's call it a night. Say cheerio.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, that's there. Just to prove he really is here all the way from Australia. I am a Time Lord. I can get these things done. Eric Cozy can't. I can. I am the dude.
Just
Oh, sorry, boss. Sorry, boss. Sorry, boss.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers.